Coming up on today's show, could the Seattle Seahawks be in the trade market for New York Jets edge rusher Haason Reddick? We have a new rumor to get to that we will be talking about coming up in just a little while from right now. Also, some injury news to get to on Jerome Baker, as well as the rest of the defense. We'll explain what exactly is going on there and let you hear directly from Mike Macdonald in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. Folks, I got a little challenge for you. I need you to like today's video if you want to beat the New York Football Giants. I've been told we get 500 likes on today's video that guarantees victory. And every time that we've done that, it's resulted in wins. The one time we didn't get 500 likes was the lead up to the Lions game, and we lost. So call me crazy, but why would we even risk that at this point? Do your part, like the video for a win, and we'll get going with today's show. Reddick to Seattle. Is that a possibility? 12th Man Rising, the Seahawks fan-sided site, is recommending that the Seahawks make a trade for the New York Jets edge rusher. Let's set the scene before we show you what they had to say. Haason Reddick was traded from the Philadelphia Eagles back in March, and he has been nowhere to be found. He's been looking for a new contract. The Jets have not given it to him, and here we are heading into Week 5, and it doesn't look like that he's going to play for the New York Jets anytime soon, while the Jets' defense has looked good without him. The trade deadline is quickly approaching. Could he be moved, and is Seattle the right fit? More from 12th Man Rising. This whole messy situation screams trade. Now enter Seahawks General Manager John Schneider, who has done business in the past with Jets General Manager Joe Douglas. The heir and Boye Mafe nursing a few injuries himself, a former NFL Defensive Player of the Year finalist, certainly wouldn't hurt. Further, the Seahawks may just want to cut their losses and get close to what they gave up for him, or the Jets rather. A 2026 third-round pick would be an easy part if Seattle wanted to really crank up the pass rush. Imagine Reddick in Macdonald's defense if the Seahawks are comfortable committing to Reddick for a few years on a guaranteed deal. There's no reason why they shouldn't give the Jets a call. Now, it's kind of twofold here, right? If you're willing to pay the extension and give Haason Reddick that money, then by all means it makes a lot of sense to pull the trigger and do this right now with the lack thereof of pass rushers. It's no secret when we talk about the injuries, how much Seattle's been banged up. More on that coming up later. But you think about it, this past week you didn't have Boye Mafe out there. Uchenna Nwosu hasn't come back. We think those guys are going to be back sooner than later. But is it a revolving door there? Is Haason Reddick potentially the Band-Aid you need for this situation? Haason Reddick has had a fantastic career in the National Football League, a second team All-Pro selection in 2022, a two-time Pro Bowler, co-leader in forced fumbles in 2022, helped take the Eagles to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. And the contract projection for him that Bleacher Report has put out there is about 2 years and $53 million. And the Seahawks do have some money to spend that they've put away. Even with bringing in Jason Peters, the Seahawks cap space right now stands at about $12 million. So for Haason Reddick, they would need to move some more money, but it's not impossible to potentially make this work. The problem is down the line when you talk that extension with the fact that the Seahawks already heading into next year are $25 million over the cap. The production speaks for itself, though. When you look at what Haason Reddick has done, multiple seasons, time and time again, where he's had 10-plus sacks, right? 12.5 in 2020, 11 in 2021, 16 in 2022, 11 in 2023. He has been an elite pass rusher in the National Football League. And a third-round pick, think about this. The situation that the Jets were able to get Haason Reddick from the Philadelphia Eagles was just for a third-round pick. So you're giving the Jets that third-round pick back, essentially here, and the Jets get to move on. They roll with their defense. And the Seahawks defense, who gave up 42 points last week, you would think would drastically improve if Haason Reddick is a part of the equation. So what do you guys think? Should the Seahawks trade for Haason Reddick? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Make sure to join us coming up on Sunday afternoon for Seahawks and Giants live right here on Seahawks Today. Our coverage will begin with our hour-long pregame show at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. I'll be here. Big Tex is going to be here. We're going to do our hour-long pregame show. We'll have a few drinks on hand. It's going to be a great time. Join us and root on the Seahawks to victory with us right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and we will see you on Sunday afternoon. All right, we got some injury news to get to on your Seattle Seahawks, and specifically on the defensive side of the ball, which has been very banged up. And you look back at this past week against the Detroit Lions, the takeaway that I saw from this Seahawks team wasn't necessarily that the defense got exposed, but rather the injuries caught up to them. So this Seahawks defense really needs these guys to come back. And Macdonald, on his radio show with Seattle Sports, said this the other day. I'd say the closest was Baker. Hamstrings are tricky. The guy's running pretty fast. He's getting some certain accelerations. I'd say he's probably the closest right now, and I'm optimistic. Finally, some good news on Jerome Baker. It has been a roller coaster for Jerome Baker when it comes to the injury front, dating all the way back to when he signed with Seattle. Remember, he came in from Miami pretty banged up. He failed a physical with the Dolphins, and that's what ultimately led to his release from Miami, and has been so in and out. So this is good to see that he's headed in the right direction there. For Seattle, though, one of the things that's been nice for them in this circumstance without having Jerome Baker involved is rookie Tyrese Knight has done a very good job stepping up in his place. And, you know, I look at that situation for Seattle here with the way Knight has played, 22 total tackles. He's got 1 TFL. He's been all over the football field. If Jerome Baker can get back, playing alongside Terrell Dodson, then all of a sudden, Knight, I feel, you're in a position where you're much more comfortable with what he can do as your number 3 linebacker because you've seen it, that if he needs to be called upon, he can step up and get the job done. I feel like that he's held his own and looks very good for a 4th-round rookie to this point. So getting some depth back, that's a good sign at that linebacker spot. More on the rest of the injuries in a moment, but first, let's ask you, what is your concern level for Seattle's injuries right now where things stack up? Scale it for me in the comments section of 1 through 10. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by GameTime. GameTime is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, GameTime has got you covered. They got tickets to Seahawks games. The Kraken, their season's about to start here pretty soon. GameTime's got that too. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. They have their seat views. So you can get the visual, see what your seat is like. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then from there, you check out the 3D view of that seat that you're looking for, and then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers, and that's not all. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? GameTime. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Download GameTime today. So the rest of the injuries for the Seahawks defense, Mike Macdonald has remained pretty coy. And if I've learned anything from covering Mike Macdonald since he took the Seahawks job back at the beginning of the offseason, is that what Mike Macdonald, when you try to read between the lines with him, he is willing to tell you things when they're looking good. But when things aren't looking so good, then he kind of remains coy and doesn't say as much. And he's not saying a whole lot beyond what we heard from what he said of Jerome Baker. We'll get to Macdonald's comments here in just a moment. But here's a look at the injury report heading into this week. Leonard Williams with the rib injury is questionable. Uchenna Nwosu still trying to come back from that MCL injury. We talked about Jerome Baker with a hamstring. He's questionable, but he's got the most progress so far. Boye Mafe with the knee injury, questionable. Byron Murphy with the hammy, he's questionable. And then Julian Love with the thigh injury that he suffered against the Detroit Lions this past week. He's questionable as well. So what did Macdonald say about the rest of the defense? Here's more. Everybody's kind of on their own timeline, but it's nothing that we're just going to be like they're out forever. It's just when they're ready to come back. So that's kind of where we are with those guys. So he's not saying much. We'll see what that means. I don't like that based on trying to dissect Mike Macdonald. I don't like hearing that. But we'll just kind of wait and see, and hopefully we get some more information on these guys come back sooner than later. Who do the Seahawks need back the most? When you look at that injury list of 6 defensive key players that are banged up, that are out right now, who do the Seahawks need back the most? Weigh in, let us know in the comments section. If you enjoyed today's show, you want to beat the New York Giants, you already know what to do. Like the video, don't jinx it. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Tyler Jones. I'll see you next time right here on Seattle Seahawks Today.